Circuit Broadcasting Systems would like to thank you for tuning in to the all-new WJMG 92.1 FM. It is now time for the Right to Vote show featuring Congressman Ronnie Shows.
Hello, everyone. This is Ronnie Shows and your Right to Vote program on October the 20th, isn't it?
20th, yeah.
I typed it wrong on my paper. October the 20th, 2022. Mm-hmm. And my guest today is Sabir Abdul-Haqq. And he's an advocate for Get Out the Vote organization in Mississippi to Vote. And they're really fond in registering young voters. Mm-hmm. First of all, we can tell you that you can reach us on WJMG 921 FM Southeast Mississippi if you would like to do Facebook. Again, that's WJMG 921 FM Southeast Mississippi. Or you can call in at 601-544-1941. And of course, it's at WJMG 92.1 and WGDQ 93.1 FM. Remember to keep your social distance, wash hands. And I was listening to radio this morning on news and talking about children being affected by this long-term COVID. So we still need to get the vaccines and do what we need to do, folks. Take care of your children. Yeah. We always dedicate the program to Vernon Floyd, the founder of the station. It wouldn't be here if it hadn't been for Mr. Floyd, the new owner and operator C.J. Lee, and the contributor, my dear friend, Sandra Jordan. We had a little deal with Sandra at the YMCA the other day on West Nile. Yeah. Yeah, she had it, and she had a personal experience, and it was just a cute little deal. I enjoyed doing it. I'm going to introduce Sabir right here, and he's a native of Summerall, Mississippi, by way of Hattiesburg and Chicago. I used to live outside Chicago.
Okay.
A place called Michigan City, Indiana.
I got you.
On the tip of the coldest place in the world.
Good Lord.
He went to the University of Southern Mississippi to the top, following a track in technical writing. My first actual position in the field was as technical director for the University Activities Council. He was responsible for audio, visual needs, event technical assessments, and execution, and website authoring. Today, he's an IT support analyst for the University of Mississippi Medical Center at several ambulatory clinics by day, but by night, he's your friendly neighborhood Pine Belt field organizer. He gets out the vote. He's a Get Out the Vote advocate. Communications lead for Mississippi Move. I'm a co-founder of the 18-year-old nonprofit, an organization dedicated to civic advocacy and education in these climate-critical times. We don't talk about climate change.
Yeah.
We really don't. And what he likes to do, I love the people I work with and enjoy having an open door. I resided in Jackson, watching my community and my three sons grow. And there's never a dull moment. If you got three boys, I had three boys. It's never a dull moment to leave me.
There's never a full refrigerator either.
They're like my grandmother said, my legs were hollow.
Right.
I could eat a lot.
Right.
Also, if you would like to, if you're away and you can't get us on the station, you can go to youtube.com. If you want to do it live, and enter or type Circuit Broadcasting in the search bar, search results will show live streaming video with a red live tag in the bottom corner. Hit it, and you should be able to get our show live wherever you're at. Mm-hmm. After the show, if you'd like to upload it off of YouTube, go do the same thing. Go to youtube.com, enter Center Circuit Broadcasting in the search bar, and just put Right to Vote October the 20th, 22. Right. And that's after the show. And you ought to be able to pull it up. Yep. Or you can say Sabir, and it should come up.
Okay. That's awesome.
So that's great. Well, let's get to the real thing. Now, people talk a lot about GOTV. I mean, we all have heard about it. I was in politics almost 30 years, and that was always the goal. And when the first time I ran was in Jeff Davis County, I never understood. People say we got to get GOTV, and I never understood it because I'd never been in politics before. I didn't understand it. Right. And that was the best run operation I ever saw. Now this is 1975. I was running for circuit clerk, where a clerk wouldn't register the voters. Okay. Right. 75.
In 75.
Yeah. That's not that long ago.
Not super long ago.
Not like the Civil War.
No. That's not ancient history. You're right.
That's not ancient history.
No.
And I tell you, the churches worked together. Everybody worked. They had people at the polls. They had people go get them if they weren't there at a certain time. Boom, boom, boom.
Get them out.
And then the next time I ran for the state. See, the same thing. Boom, boom, boom. Boy, they were working. But as time goes on, now it's a money thing.
Right.
Everybody's got to be paid, which I understand. It's expensive to haul people to the polls.
Yeah.
But it's hard for Democrats to raise money for TV, radio, printed articles, and also raise money to get the vote out. You don't get the vote out, you can't win.
Right.
You get the name ID, but you can still lose because you ain't getting your vote out.
Right.
You got to have people on the ground. Explain how we could make this a better deal or incentivize people. I understand a lot of Democrats don't have money. And I've had people ask for money, and I trust them, and I gave them money to help pay for the gas, not for the vote.
Okay.
Not for the vote. I didn't pay by votes. But I would hire people to drive their own vehicle and give gas.
Gotcha.
And we were pretty successful until they just got out of the price range where you couldn't afford to do it. And then, some people pay them to stay home. You know that.
And that's rough.
So give us an idea how you approach it and what you try to do, Sabir.
So first off, appreciate it. Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you for having me involved, Brother Ronnie and Brother Jacory, station engineer here at WJMG. To answer your question, yeah, definitely. So there, and one thing I also want to be able to say, we're speaking to one party. Again, Mississippi Move, we are a nonpartisan organization. Right. I can speak to what we do.
Yeah.
And some of the
colleagues,
of course, some of the things that we do and people that we partner with. So our organization, as you said, we've been doing this 18 years, and not too long have really been working on the terms of GOTV as a hot button term. GOTV simply means get out the vote. We want whoever you are, no matter what your demographics are, no matter what your background is, whoever you vote for, we want you to come on out, get out and vote. A part of that is definitely, like you're saying, touching base with folks and actively registering folks and actively educating folks on what needs to happen, on your dates, on when absentee voting can happen, on precincts, on how to be able to check your status. All those different things, check your status as a voter, right? Knowing your polling place. All those different things are very, very, very important. But we also, GOTV also means like canvassing, going out to communities, hitting these different spots in different areas and saying, look, we want you to be able to be involved. We want you to be able to be plugged in. We want you to come on out and vote. And a lot of things, we've been talking, Ronnie, in a lot of spots. I am, as you said, the Pine Belt organizer. Mississippi Move is a state organization, and we've got footprints in central Mississippi, East Mississippi, and on the Gulf Coast. But in terms of staff, and I put that, for the listening audience, I'm putting that in scare quotes. Staff, we have 3 field organizers, myself, George Chuck Patterson Jr., he operates on the Gulf Coast, and Mac Epps, he operates in central Mississippi. And the 3 of us, we want to get more of actual, again, scare quotes, staff to be able to do more things, but we've been all over the state. And so when you say get out the vote, it is a cumulative process. You bring up a good point in terms of getting people out to actually vote. One of the things that we've done for now going on, this is 2020, going on almost 11, 12 years, is something where we do what we call roll to the polls, where we will work with folks with good driving records, folks that hear about us from partnering organizations and everything else, who will actually volunteer their time and say, look, I will, drive somebody to vote in Carthage. I will drive somebody to vote in Jackson County. I will drive somebody to vote in East Mississippi out in Lauderdale County. I'll drive somebody to vote up in Holmes County. And we've even, glory be to the Creator. We've been able to reach out to some folks, even transportation companies, right? So folks that have these organizations or folks that have these businesses that already,
such as churches,
church businesses. We and shout out to let me pause. Let me roll back a little bit. Shout out to the NAACP state chapter.
Yeah.
Because they plugged us into a lot of different organizations statewide that we may not have met, and so yeah, and even like Peg Serrato with League of Women Voters. I wouldn't have met them had I not met the Wesleys here in Hattiesburg for Forest County NAACP. We have had a partnership, the NAACP of Forest County, Jones County, and League of Women Voters for the last 2 years in the Pine Belt, and that's just here. We've got other spots in other
County
Jones
is pretty
County.
active,
Jones
say.
County is very active.
Yeah,
Jones County.
yeah.
We'll talk about that further in discussion. Some of the partners that we're doing, but I want to answer your get out the vote. Thankfully, reaching out to these folks, we were able to find volunteers. We were able to find members of these organizations that said, "Yeah, I'd love to go ahead and help do that." So what we did was we set up an online and a phone call line where you can book a ride to vote. Then
You pick me up at 2 o'clock.
Pick me up at 2 o'clock and get me over here to Mount Carmel. Get me over here to whatever. I'm over here off Robinson Street. I'm over here like I'm a Hattiesburg
Mobile
native.
Street, right.
Mobile Street, wherever I grew up on Cherry Street here in Hattiesburg. Definitely like I vote in this area. Our dispatchers answer the phone, right? And this is part of our Roll to the Poll programs I was just mentioned. People will answer the phone. We'll say where you are. Okay, got your name, got your time, confirm for it. Confirm for me your address, sir. Oh, wait a minute, sir. Just, we've had to tell people like, you're not in the right voting precinct. Whatever. We've had to kind of like inform people.
Yeah.
Some folks have moved. They don't realize as a part of the get out the vote process that if you move, you need to be in the right voting precinct.
Correct.
They will purge you off the rolls. Those things will happen to you. And people will say, oh, that's not right, or da-da-da-da.
It don't matter what it's not right. It's being done.
It's how it's going.
Yeah.
So, but in any event, we'll take their address, confirm for them their polling location, and then the day of, the time of, we basically text the drivers. They go to GPS on their smartphones. Gotta love technology, right?
Yeah.
They go to the GPS on their smartphones, and they'll go ahead and go to that spot, take that person directly to their polling place, and then back home. And especially, it has been a godsend, I would say. And just being real, speaking to you and your listening audience, just being real, we had a young lady who was disabled in Ellisville. And our staffers here that were working in the Pine Belt, dispatch got in. They looked us up on the internet. They see mostly black and brown faces. They talking to the person. They can kind of tell that they're talking to a black and brown person, but they want to vote. And they were kind of iffy in the car. And they were kind of quiet. And then had a conversation with that person. They opened up, and they was like, and so we got them there, and the young lady got out, and she's in line. And actually, I was the one that picked her up. And I said, we were talking and everything. And she said, I'll be honest with you. I didn't know that you were going to actually pick me up because I vote Republican and I'm white and I'm disabled.
I've done that. We took a Republican.
And I'm like, regardless of what I was trying to confirm for her, I was like, look, I need you to understand something. You may have looked this up. You may have done the different things. You may have thought certain things. You may have been concerned for your safety. You may have, a number of things may have gone through your mind. She was like, I am so glad that I got in this car. She was to the point of tears.
You might have converted her.
And look, hey, whoever you vote for, that's whatever you vote for, your business.
Yeah.
But she said she voted, and it brought she was on the verge of tears.
Yeah.
And she didn't reach out to us this last major election, but
do you have repeat business?
We have. I got a voicemail that I responded to today from somebody in Hattiesburg.
Really?
Who was like, hey, just wanted to, we got this election. Y'all gonna be doing Roll to the Poll, right? Because I want to get picked up. So we got somebody already, and we usually don't open up our dispatch line till the Saturday before election. Now, we will push things out there. We'll be pushing things to the radio station. We'll be pushing things to all major news outlets that we can statewide. And sometimes we hear from folks that we had never met before. We hear from drivers willing to go ahead and volunteer, saying, hey, my name is such and such. Look, I will send you whatever background information you need on me. Please look me up, but I want to get people in Carthage. We didn't have a footprint in Carthage before then. Really? We didn't have a footprint in East Mississippi before then. These are folks that are saying that regardless. And so going back to the young lady in Eatonville, she was like, when she got back to her spot, the reason why she wasn't going to be able to make it, because her daughter usually takes her to the polls. Yeah. Her daughter had to work. Yeah. And her daughter drives like I think it was like a Mustang. It was a sports car. Sports car. Yeah. But she was like, I'll go ahead and get there. I was like, whoop. And when we pulled up in a minivan.
Yeah,
and slid the thing. She was able to get in.
Yeah.
You know, we chatted her up, talked and everything. Didn't try to convert her. Didn't try to push anything. None of our staff were wearing a particular candidate. No political affiliation, anything else. We chatted her up. I even, like I said, I walked her in and everything else, and she just was on the verge of tears. She was like, I didn't think I was going to be able to vote. She had turned to WDAM, saw that WDAM had ran a segment on us, reminding people that, hey, we're going to be getting folks out to vote. Mm-hmm. So it's not hard. I would say, like, I'm an Aries. My wife gives me a hard time because we butt heads, Pisces, Aries all the time. It's hilarious. But
I call it the difference between Venus and Mars.
Basically, she would agree with you on that. But I'm an Aries, and every time I see a problem, I'm like, oh, that's small. Let's deal with it. You know, is there? Let's figure out how to do it. Yes. Our executive director is a Virgo, so he's a planner, right? He's the central. Mac is a Virgo, and Chuck is a Sagittarius. So he's like, hey, let's get this done. Firestarter, let's go. Let's go.
I like people that like to solve problems.
Right. Yeah. And so get out the vote basically means, like, it's. I would say, to answer you, also to sum up an answer to your question, get out the vote is involving really having a wide look at it, a wide lens at what's wrong. How can we get people involved in this? Yes, we might have experience, and I say we, I mean like folks that we've worked with ourselves, other folks. Yes, we've got experience in this. We understand how to be able to operate this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How do we go ahead and so that there's not so many irons in the fire? How do we get more hands holding those irons in the fire so that we can get things going? You know,
I like to suggest what we did in Lamar County.
Yeah.
I live in Lamar County. My wife's chairwoman of the Lamar County Democrat.
Okay.
I got 2 or 3 members of our committee to get Notary Public.
Nice.
Because, you know, some people may not get to Notary Public to do that, and all they got to do is call. Mm-hmm. And so if you need that service in this general area, well, Dina Simmons is
my good buddy. I'm a Notary Public.
Really?
We're
good. And I'm not.
Yeah. Hey, it's one of the most versatile things you can add to your and easy. Easy.
You add something to what you can do.
Correct. Right.
All right. So I would say that in Lamar County we have 3 or 4 people on our committee that's willing to drive.
Okay.
So, you know, and I know they got him in Forest County too.
Cool. Yeah.
So anytime you guys need help, you can be sure to call us.
Definitely
you got my number.
Definitely going to reach out. The Roll to the Poll program is wide open. And as long as you got, in this day and age, a smartphone, and we prefer to do it like a 2-man, and I say 2-man, man, woman, like 2 people, man, woman, whoever. So that way you got 1 driver and 1 navigator. So that way, just to be safe, we want people in Mississippi Department of Transportation. Don't fuss at us. We got 2 people. We got 2 people in the car. 1 person is not just looking at their smartphone.
Well, you okay? I used to be a transportation.
But obviously. But definitely we try to be able to do it so that we can make it as easy as possible. Mm-hmm. And then what we've also had happen is. And this is what, again, I call a good problem. When we're doing our Roll to the Poll program, we got our, volunteers and everything, our dispatchers is answering phone calls and everything else. And the way how we have our system is it will send an email reminder and a text message reminder saying, hey, you still need to be picked up, right?
Yeah.
And people will call and say, they'll call back, oh, we good. Or you can respond in the text message and say, no, I don't need it. My neighbor actually picked me up. So we've started out, I just want to say this real quick, for June. I think it was June. Last time we did Roll to the Polls was June. And when we were picking things up, we had about 60 people starting it off saying, like, yeah, we need rides. That whittled down to like 20.
Really? Because
a lot of folks, true, some people are like, I don't really know you guys. I don't want you kidnapping me. Yeah. Unfortunately, all the stuff, just speaking real, that happens. I don't want that to happen. But moreover, people were saying, you know what? I need to make sure that folks are, like they talk to their church members. They talk to their sister, their brother, their cousin.
Check you out.
They check and they say, oh, you don't have a ride? I got you. That's a good problem.
Yeah.
Because still their neighbors and their loved ones and their colleagues and whomever went to check on them and said, oh, you don't have a ride, I got you. Mm-hmm. But what we're learning more is that more and more people are recognizing, as that with that person that left us that voicemail already, it was like, yeah, y'all are doing Roll to the Poll, right? Because the election's coming up.
Well, I could see where you'd get repeat business.
We
Consistency.
We do. And it's not, at one point, it used to be just, so we started, all three of us, George, everybody calls him George Chuck. So Chuck, Mac, and myself, we lived in Metro Jackson. And at one point, it was mostly Metro Jackson. But it was like, we've got to, Mississippi is more than just Jackson. Each of us, Mac is from the Southern Delta, Chuck is from the coast, I'm from the Pine Belt, which is why each of us have gone back to our respective communities. I'll be back here when my wife finishes up in nursing school. I'll be back down here, moving down here. And continue to work and try to pass the torch. And
it'd be a lot of help you get back
and give back. And then we want to be able to show, like the next generation, the same way people done for us. And I shout out
Vernon
to
Damer.
Like Vernon Damer. Like Vernon Damer, who gave his life.
Yeah.
Like Vernon Floyd, who helped establish this relationship.
The two men that helped make this
correct
a reality.
They make this reality. Like I think I've and we've talked myself, you and Ja'Cory, we were talking offline how like this building, being in this building right here, brings so much memories for me. My sister passed away, but my sister's breath is on these walls. Yeah. And I think I told y'all, I did touch base with her best friend. She was like, "Oh my God," you know what I'm saying? You're there. You're at JMG. So,
memory lane.
And so, and it's always a matter of we want to instill that same sense of ownership to our young folks, no matter your background, no matter where you are. Ownership in terms of the civic process, ownership in terms of giving back to your community in a positive way, ownership in establishing businesses, establishing camaraderie, picking your communities up and putting it on your back. Because guess what? That's what your parents and your grandparents and everybody else did.
And this is one thing. People think all Democrats, all Republicans think the same way. It's totally different.
It's different.
I try to be realistic to my voters. Right. I said, being a church, we're not going to agree on everything.
Right.
Don't mark somebody off because you got one item.
Right.
But you also want expand Medicaid. But you're not going to vote for them because you're stuck on this one deal.
Correct.
Get over that.
And that's where we are. Like we are in we are in a representative democracy.
That's
supposed
right.
to be. We're in a representative democracy.
Compromise,
and so it's going to be compromise. It's going to happen. And regardless of whether you're what I remember that old saying growing up, a yellow dog Democrat or somebody that's scared to, jump into a minivan and go to your voting precinct because you don't know these people.
Yeah.
No matter where you are, it still is an opportunity for you to have your voice heard, and we champion that. I would say Mississippi Move, definitely, other organizations we work with, regardless of what we look like, regardless of our demographics, we want for everybody to get out and vote.
That's right. It makes a stronger country.
Right. It does. It does.
But try to choose between reality and false.
Correct.
Please do your research.
Correct.
That's
that magic word. That's that magic word. Do your research. Everybody's do your research. Right.
And all you got to do is Google. If you don't trust that, Google again. You'll get. Keep going till you find your answer.
You find what makes sense.
But one thing we need to know: what number do they need to call?
Absolutely. So great. I was going to bring that back up. Thank you so much. We're actually redesigning our website. If people want to learn about Mississippi Move, our website is www.msmove. That's MOVE, Martin Oscar Victor Echo, MOVE.org, msmove.org. They can always folks can always learn more about us. They can call us 662-205-6683. Again, that's 662-205-6683. We're actually in the process of redesigning our website, but you can always follow us on social media. Social media always has our most up-to-date stuff. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you do a search for Mississippi Move, you'll find us. But there's a lot of organizations that do things, everything from that hot button term of election protection. That we want to make sure that folks are not violating rules of making sure that no candidates are within a certain space of the election space, of making sure that I'm sure people may have heard that term or that story that went through, right? I think it was in Oxford a few years ago where people were trying to hit the button on the debolt machines and it was accidentally voting for somebody else. Remember that? It was about 2 or 3 years ago. So with election protection, folks that were involved with that, which were offshoots of the ACLU of Mississippi and NAACP, those are agents that were working with election protection that
Well, they got attorneys on staff.
They got attorneys on staff.
Oh,
yeah. And so what we wound up doing is again, we have a network. We have a moving network, a fluid network that is constantly talking about how we can be able to make things easier for folks on election day and everything building up to and everything going back. I have to say, we've been doing recently in terms of going back to what we were talking about with Get Out the Vote. One of the things we've been doing is we call our Move the Vote tour, which is we will find a business in a area. We've been down to Port Gibson. We've been down to, we've been in Columbia. We've been in Hattiesburg, Laurel, all over the Delta, the Gulf Coast. We were at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College Perk campus. Yeah. That was the 20th? Yeah, September 20th. We was on the 20th. We were at Alcorn State University.
Oh, registering voters.
Registering voters.
All voters.
All voters.
Yeah,
whoever you are.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And what happens is we've had, like Columbia Library, for example, we reached out to the staff, said, hey, can we set up in the parking lot? They were like, fine. Good, come on. And we were registering folks to vote.
Would they let you do it at Walmart or somewhere?
They probably would. And we thought about things like that, but we want to be... We may do something like that. We were looking at a spot in Macomb. And Macomb Walmart, we think
there's Walmart South.
Yeah, South. I used to work at that.
That's a good
huge
location.
spot. That's a huge spot right there in 49. Mm-hmm. I used to work there at that Walmart. I remember. I helped open that store.
Did you?
But yeah, it was a long time ago. 1999, man. It's a long time.
That's when I got in Congress.
Hey, man, it's good times. But we definitely when we do the move the vote tours, we will work with community organizations. Sometimes we'll find organizations that really just started, or work with organizations that they don't have. Like we are, and again, we talk about subject matter experts. My two things of bread and butter are IT and graphic design. Mm-hmm. Chuck's thing is graphic design and communications. Mac is logistics and communications. So all three of us all come different ways. And so where people would say, I don't know how to do X, Y, Z. I don't know.
Give it to Mac or one of the
Give
other
it to Mac, give it to Chuck, give it to me. And
Yeah.
we're trying to do things and say, okay, here you go. They be like, that's it.
Don't give it to Ronnie.
No.
You in trouble. You give
Oh
it
my
to me.
God! Don't give it to you. Like, hey, Ronnie, we need a flyer. You gonna give us something in Microsoft Publisher? Hey, look, man. Hey, but we're able to, and see, we were able to meet through Sandra Jordan, right?
Sure.
Because that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't have. I mean, again, when we were talking earlier, I was like, I knew your name from somewhere, but and it just so happened, we met through Sandra Jordan, and Sandra, I met Sandra. At an event in Hattiesburg.
Yes,
and through also some contacts with the Forest County NAACP.
Absolutely.
So, and that's kind of how things constantly dovetail, right? Mm-hmm. You constantly have this thing of dovetailing, and you're constantly having this way of saying, look, we can find ways to partner and learn. And one thing I was going to say, I knew I was about getting somewhere. We were talking about GOTV and our Move the Vote before and after, right? Even before it's time to vote and afterwards. We've had folks. We sat there on the corner of Killingsworth and right there on Country Club at the St. James Church in what was that? It was last month, September 16th. I forgot. We were there registering folks to vote, and so you can have like an impromptu conversation. Like as people are registering to vote, I'll turn up with them. We've been talking and everything else. I try to be a pretty cheerful and jovial guy.
Yeah.
So when people are passing by, I'm like, hey, you registered to vote? And they be like, oh, thumbs up, whatever. Yeah. No matter your background, no matter your skin color, no matter what that license plate says your county is on the back of the car, people are like, oh, yeah. And we're like, yeah, we turn up with them, get regular.
It's like a candidate.
Yeah.
You offend people if you don't ask them to vote.
Correct.
Now, you can't nail them down and say, will you vote for me?
Right.
But you said, I'd sure appreciate your vote. People want that.
I think, and that's a very good point. I think that, I can't remember who said it, but someone made a very poignant quote not too long ago. It said, voting is the most intimate, non-medical thing a Southerner can do. Mm-hmm. I was like, yo, that's deep. And that's exactly right. But as a part of people who have registered to vote and people who haven't, you also have folks, unfortunately, who have just been victims or just come out of the prison system, who have been formerly incarcerated.
Well, it's terrible what happened in Florida.
I'm so irritated with DeSantis. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to go ahead. What's the name? Why would you do that?
Because he's evil.
Maybe in a minute we can explain it because some of your listeners might not be familiar with that. But I know exactly what you're talking about really quick, just talking about in terms of expungement, because a lot of times we had folks in some of the communities been into saying that, look, we can't. I can't vote. I was told I can't vote. and I can't do this, that, and the third. Be like, what? Like, and so I pull, the brother or sister aside, and I'll be like, and I show them this form that has all the list of things. I'm like,
what were you
don't have to.
of? Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have to get into it. Do you see your crime on this list? They'd be like, no. I'd be like, here's a form.
That's right.
And so, but what you're saying, and I'm sure you'll get into it because you probably details, but DeSantis, when he was saying that he had put the election security and something kind of task force, right? And so he was telling people, and they locked the guy up because he had been received a gap.
Hey, look, he received the voting card. The registrar for the county came to said, look, you can vote. Here's your voter's card. Da.
And because he voted,
they're doing it for intimidation.
That's direct voter intimidation. So if you want to get into that, I mean, you probably know a lot more of the specifics, but I just saw that in my feed like the last 2 days ago. I'm like, I shared it on Facebook. I'm like, DeSantis.
I don't know how people vote for somebody so evil in their thoughts about wanting to make it harder for people to vote. It's just like, why are we? If you miss 2 federal elections, you put on an inactive list.
Right.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
For what? And that's not even necessary. And I think.
But you know what happens? We get that because we're not voting.
Correct. And we get that, and we're not voting. We get purged off of a roll, or we get, or we say, I can't get a ride. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, like.
Give them that number again.
662-205-6683. You call us. We are officially going to be opening up our dispatch lines on Saturday, the 5th of November. But you can learn more about us. You can follow us on social media. We're actually working right now to have a chapter at Southern Miss.
Great.
We're working to have a chapter at PERC at MGCC. We're working to have a chapter at Alcorn. We're working to have a chapter at Jackson State.
How about Pearl River?
Pearl River Community College. We want to reach out to every college.
Community
we're
college.
just trying to start, and then at least if we can get contacts, because we're going to actually. That's one of the things I'm over. Mm-hmm. If we can get, folks that are interested, so I invite your listeners. If you've got a daughter, son, niece, nephew, cousin that wants to get involved and would like to get civically active or civically engaged to be able to go and put that footprint into your college campus, we invite you to give us a call, 662-205-6683. It just so happens the 6683 is MOVE.
Yeah.
So it's 662. Right. Yeah, we didn't plan that at all, right? 662-205-MOVE, 662-205-6683. And we are again, we're an organization. We don't care who you vote for.
Let's go back to the person that served time.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that they understand this. You can't go by what happened in Florida. Correct. Do not let that intimidate you here. If you haven't been expunged and you think it's a possibility, they can call you.
They can call us. We're not attorneys,
but you got attorneys.
But we got people in our network that we can reach out to.
Yeah,
and
you'll even give them the form and help them fill it out.
Correct.
It's just a one-stop shop.
We were in Bassfield. We were in Bassfield and Prentice recently doing your old stomping grounds.
Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, Yellow Jackets. That's right. Jeff Davis Camp. Right.
Jaguars.
So I was in Bassfield, and then we had some ladies that were with NAACP in Prentice, and so they were at the Prentice at the Mini Mart, and I was at the Pure gas station on Bassfield.
You don't see many Pure gas stations.
You don't. You really don't. But it's. I was sitting right there, and we were setting up shop, and we got folks registered to vote. We had one young man hit us up, and they said, "Hey," he was like, "Look, man, I really can't get involved to vote. I'm formally incarcerated. Everything." I said, "Bro, no problem." So I showed him the form, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "What I've done is on that list." And I was like, "Okay, cool." But one of his friends, one of his partners with him, hadn't. He looked at it, he was like, "I can vote." I said, okay, put your information down. We have a way of capturing people's information. And so as we hear something in our grapevine of an expungement training, it's something we want to do, but we've got to work with more attorneys and be able to get more involved. We happen to go ahead. That was like a Saturday. That next week, we had heard that there was going to be an expungement training in Jackson at Jim Hill High School, one of the local high schools. I blew up that guy's phone. I said, "Say, bro, there's an expungement training in Jim Hill. Can you make it?" Finally, and I was like, it was after that Saturday, he had never hit me back. And so I happened to just reach out. I was like, "Man, look, I hope you get this message." He texted me back. He was like, "I was there." So he was able to make it.
Yeah.
And so when we were able to, and that gentleman did get expunged. He was there for the training. They had lawyers on staff. It was another organization called Mississippi Votes Them and Mississippi Center for Justice were running that training.
Before I forget it, is we're going to try to have a debate between the two congressional candidates and the lady running for the circuit judge.
Very good.
Here in Forest County,
Nice.
and we're going to try to make it November the 4th. I got to get those dates cleared.
Nice.
But we'll do one segment for one group and the next one for the other candidates.
That's good.
So we're going to invite all four of them. The one who shows gets to talk.
That's it.
Yeah.
And that's and a lot of things.
We haven't set up the time.
You haven't set up the time. Oh yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you share it out, and we'll definitely help you push that out again. Because again, that's nonpartisan. You're getting both sides. Cool.
That's right.
Fantastic. We'll definitely push it out, and that's one thing that. And shout out again, Forest County NAACP, Jones County NAACP, and League of Women Voters. We've done political forums and political debates over the last 2 years. We've done 2 for Hattiesburg for the local elections, 1 for mayor, and then for the councilman seats. And then we also did the same in Laurel. One in Laurel got kind of testy a little bit, but
did you host it?
We hosted it with
we might let you host it here.
If I can get here, we got a lot going up that way.
To help
yeah. Peg is awesome. Peg is awesome. Peg and the Cottons, they'll definitely.
Catherine McNair.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I don't think I met her. I know the name. I don't think she was. I don't think I met her. But definitely to be able to reach out to folks and that's one thing that we're probably going to get back to. Jackson's really good about doing political forums.
Sure.
The Donna Ladd with the Mississippi Free Press had worked with some of the political science professors. Nathan Schrader and a couple other folks have reached out to these folks and was like, look, let's go ahead and do this political forum. The forums turned out pretty good. I don't know if they have the time to do it now, because one of the things that people keep contacting us when we're reminding people to get out to vote, like, I forgot there was an election.
That's right.
Yeah, if you didn't say, because what we're in Jackson also, another thing I also want to tell your listening audience, we try to spread things wide, again, having that wide focus. On top of, of course, water, Jackson had our water issue up there that we're still dealing with. But like the water
like the last 20 years.
Right, correct. Right, exactly. It's always been something in infrastructure. But we've been doing water distribution and voter registration. We'll be like, hey, we'll register you to vote while you get this water you need. And so we were doing that recently. And people were like, y'all doing voter registration? I didn't even know there was an election. Who running? And so we're like, okay. We've got to do something to be able to get these candidates out. Because I think that's something that when we were doing our political forums here, we had that one in June where we had everybody in the 4th. Everybody came except for Palazzo when we were here. We were at. That's
hard
another.
To believe, huh?
We ain't gonna get into that. But everybody came except Palazzo, and when we were here in June. And we were at C.E. Roy. We were over at C.E. Roy Community Center, and every candidate that was showed from all parties came except for Palazzo. And then when we had the municipal election for Hattiesburg, first was a political forum, which was no debate. You can't debate. People try to slick in them barbs or whatever. Peg wasn't playing it for it, and Miss Andrea, I love Miss Andrea.
They used to ask specific questions.
Specific questions you had to answer.
They didn't let them go back.
They didn't let them go back and forth, but they tried to slip their barbs in, and we were like, "Don't, I'll kill your mic." You know what I'm saying? This and the third. Don't want to.
I got the switch, buddy.
This and the third. But we so the political forum. But the second one we had was an actual debate in Hattiesburg. That it was a debate. You bring your guns, but your political guns, not guns. We're not condoning violence. No, but it was definitely a breath of fresh air, having all of the myriad of questions that came through. We had so many people that called, so many people that had given questions ahead of time, and we offered people in the audience to be able to come through. And that's how you show that you are truly educated about the process, truly active in the process. You know who you know who's running, you know who's going for it. And I got to be honest with you, it was took my breath away for people to not realize who were running for different things. We just recently, Jackson, of course, Jackson's got the issue. Everybody's always worried about crime in Jackson and everything. So the the judge in the sheriff's race just recently, it was 2021, the judge in the sheriff's race were big things. Because everybody's like, oh, I'm going to be tough on crime. I'm going to be tougher on crime than you.
That's easy to say.
Chest thumping and all that other stuff. And so it wound up being that, we got Tyree Lewis. Tyree Lewis is the current sheriff in Hinds County, and he won. And we've got a bunch of great folks that are doing who've always been justice advocates throughout their career, who just so happen to have won, the judgeships that we're running through. So it worked out great, and I'm really, and you got the chance to see things not just because I like that person, they related to me, or that's my fraternity brother, or that's my sorority sister. You got to see what they felt about the issues, and so I think political forums is a part of Get Out the Vote. It's more than just registering to vote, right? It's more than what we were just talking about in terms of what we're trying to help with Roll to the Polls. It's more than just expungement of folks that need to be, so we can avoid recidivism, right? Recidivism, again, for your audience, is the rate by which people go back and get reincarcerated. So reducing recidivism rates is also about encouraging people and understanding who it is that's actually running. That's very important. And to not have that.
And don't get lost in the resolutions and the amendments and stuff like that. And know the ballot. And this is what we're going to try to. I know in Lamar County, I tell our members of our Lamar County Democratic Party, we're going to send out the sample ballot.
Right. That happens.
And then if they got any questions, please call. Don't be confused when you go to, I didn't know all this was on the ballot. If you're listening, they can call you at your
They can call
662
205-6683. If you need, again, we will give you an empty ballot with all the people that are running. We won't put, you make your choice. But
call the people you trust.
Call the people you trust that may know. Watch your media, because I was hoping. I just so happened last night. I was thinking, getting ready for today's story. I was like, man, there need to be more political forums, and so I just did a Google search, political forum September 2022, and there actually have been a couple of forums. I didn't see them. So these are things that we want people. Because I'm thinking, if I'm just a casual voter, do I know who, Michael Guest is? Do I know who Stephen Palazzo is? Do I know who anybody else is? Do I know who, no matter what your party is, no matter who your background is, does this person represent me? Should I vote for them? Should I not vote for them? Make a choice that works for you, but make it an educated choice.
Make it an educated choice, and do not make a choice on one issue.
Yeah.
Go down the issues.
Go down, see what makes sense.
See. You may be stuck on this and not expand Medicaid, not have clean water, not more money to properly train police.
Right.
And law enforcement.
All these different things.
I mean, there's just so many things that you'll be missing because you've got this one hang up.
Right.
And it may be a big hang up, personal hang up.
Right.
But please. Just don't throw it all away when you look at other things, because you win. How do you eat an apple one bite at a time?
Right.
That's the way politics
that's
is.
What, and don't just be like, what's how the saying go, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
That's right.
So you just because you don't like something, one thing, whatever, everything got to go.
Even if it's ugly, baby.
Keep the God. Baby. God bless, man. It's just, and it's crazy to me. We want to be able to make sure we're here to tell your viewing audience, your listening audience, and anybody else, say, look, find what works for you.
That's right.
Find what resonates with you. Find organizations that you can give your energy to. If you wish to donate, we ain't got no problem. We'll take a donation. But we want to be able to go ahead and make sure that any of the resources are constantly going to folks to be able to do initiatives like what we're doing, Roll to the Polls. And then again, even if you're not even contacting us, the NAACP chapters, Forest County NAACP, they have their own version of Roll to the Polls. If we're busy, we'll send them to them.
Yeah.
And now that I know that you're doing something similar, we'll send it to y'all too, to make sure that folks are getting out there and registering, not only registering folks to vote, but also actually at this point, it's too late to register to vote, that you're actually out there and actually voting.
Well, look, my wife always sends me constructive criticism.
Wives are great.
You know what she said? Quit pecking on the table. It is annoying.
It is. Oh.
I know. I'm doing it.
We're sorry, Miss House. We're bad. Our bad.
No, it's me.
Oh, it's you? Okay, I'm sorry.
She says, quit pecking on
Yes,
I can't
indeed.
keep still. Well, look, it's the 30 minutes goes by fast.
It does. It does.
Yeah, and we've been going 45 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And Jacory's really worried about it. Look at me.
He's super worried about it. Super
Losing
worried
that
about it.
revenue.
Look at him.
But anyway, look, you're welcome back anytime.
Gotcha. Glad to be here.
We are going to try to do that debate. We're looking at November the 4th.
Yeah.
We're going to contact the two offices. We think the circuit court judge and the congressional race is an important thing, and we'd like for people to listen to the response. Hopefully they'll all come. If they don't, we'll let the ones who come answer the question.
Yeah, that's it.
All we can do is offer.
All you can do is offer. Just let them know. Give them a shot.
We just got to nail that date down. But anyway, anytime, Sabir, come back. When you start doing your operation here, let us know.
Gotcha. We'll do.
And you got my contact, and we've got yours.
I got the station's contact. I'll be contacting you, Jacory. Please let everybody know, man. But tell your listening audience, look, if they want to be able to, again, roll to the polls, we'll be opening our dispatch line November 5th. We'll be opening our dispatch line if you need a ride to the polls. 662-205-6683. Our website is www.msmove.org. We want to get you there to the polls. Our drivers, our dispatchers are going to be ready to, chomping with bated breath to get you there.
Well, remember, there's a guy like Medgar Evers, Vernon Damer, who gave their life for us to talk about this.
You sure right.
And for all people to vote. And let's not forget them. We always close the show and dedicate it to Mr. Damer and what he did, and he brought attention to Hattiesburg.
Yes, he did.
All right. God bless everybody. Stay safe. Watch out for this COVID. We're not out of the...
We ain't out of it yet.
And don't forget to get your flu shot.
Yes.
And in fact, I'm going to get mine. I'm supposed to get today, but I've had a conflict.
Gotcha.
But anyway, stay safe. And next week, we're going to have another great guest, and I'll figure out who it is in a couple days.
Gotcha.
So stay safe, and God bless. And we'll see you next week on your Right to Vote program on 92.1 or 93.1 FM.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye. God bless. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Right to Vote Show featuring Congressman Ronnie Shows. The Right to Vote Show airs every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on WJMG 92.1 FM and WGDQ 93.1 FM. You can also stream The Right to Vote Show at cbsllc.live as well as recapture previous episodes. Once again, thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Right to Vote Show featuring Congressman Ronnie Shows.